Okay, so I am headed out to pick up a completely spur of the moment, unexpected deal. So I am headed out to pick up a Ryzen 7 5800X, I believe non 3D, which I can't seem to get a 3D. All the deals I get, I never get. That 7800X 3D I did last week was the only X3D I have ever, well, sort of. So there's a reason for it. So anyway, so I'm getting the 5800X with a 3080, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got drives in it. I don't know what the drives are. I generally make a habit of not asking. I always feel like if I ask whether or not it has something, it'll make a seller think, well, maybe I shouldn't include that because it's worth more money and I can keep that if they want it. So maybe since they want it, I should keep it. So I make a habit of not asking. Like if I'm pretty sure a machine has something, I usually don't ask because I don't want sellers to think, oh, well, I'll keep that because, the fact they want that means it's worth something extra. So I normally make a policy of that. So I'm getting that. So a high-end machine along with, wait for it, a 49-inch OLED, Samsung 49-inch OLED. If the deal is everything they say, so it's the 49-inch 5K, 2K OLED. If it's everything he says, $900 for all of it. So I don't even know how it'll be distributed. Obviously, that might be him. Oh, that's actually him. It's probably him telling me that he got a better deal. Let's see here. Oh, this is funny. Somebody's offering him $1,200 and he's like, well, are you down to do 1,000? And then he corrects himself and he's like, nah, I don't want to go back on the deal. 900 is good. So I'm not going to tell this guy I have a YouTube channel and I do deal hunting. Look, in all fairness to those who would say, oh, well, you're not being fair to the, that's not true. If I pay a price that the seller offered me this price, he originally had the machine posted for $500 by itself, okay? And then, so I messaged him and I said, I'll be there in a few. And, so I messaged him and I said, I'll give you the $500. He said, I have a buyer already. And, but if you buy both the monitor and the computer, I'll give it to you all for $900. And I said, I just did some basic digging to see what it was he was offering. And then I said, done. Give me the address. I'm coming to get it. So just to be clear to anyone who thinks I'm like unfair or something, these are the deals that they are offering me. Okay. So it is not my responsibility to tell somebody, hey, you're giving me the stuff for cheaper than you could get for it. Like, that's not my responsibility, okay? Everybody is selling their stuff for cheaper than they could get for it in theory, okay? Like, come on. Because I know there are people that look at it that way. And the other thing with it, too, is that to those who would say I'm denying somebody a deal who otherwise could really use a deal. So, first of all, gosh darn it, I forgot that this cannot sit. Sorry, guys. My stupid camera. I have looked for a car mount and I cannot find the car mount that I actually want for it yet. So I gotta hold the dang thing in place if I make any turns, like the tiniest turn, and the thing goes flying. It's really annoying. Anyway, though, so where was I before my camera flipped over? Darn it. Oh yeah, so to those who would say I'm denying somebody a deal, first of all, because there are people, I get that. I know people who, well, why are you rationalizing? Because I get that all the time from people that I'm like ruining the fun for everyone else or something like that. And my thing with that is, so first of all, the closer you get to $1,000 and then go over $1,000, it's really hard for a lot of these people that are on the used market. They don't have $1,000. That's why my $350 to $500 machines are so popular, because most people on the used market, $1,000 is a lot of money for a used computer. Okay, it is a ton of money. Now, I will tell people straight up, the closer you get to $1,000 on used hardware, the more you get. So you get exponentially more, the more that you're willing to spend. Basically, the bigger risk you're willing to take financially. Now, my opinion would argue that technically, if you can afford it and you basically verify that it turns on, it's probably technically less of a risk, just because the more expensive it gets, if you're not getting ripped off, the newer the hardware is going to be. Like it is what it is. Typically, the closer you get to $1,000, the closer you're getting to current gen hardware. Like, it is what it is. But most people that are buying used hardware, in most cases, aren't willing to sink $1,000 or approaching $1,000 into used hardware. That's just been my experience. And so it does typically take longer to sell a machine in the $1,000 range, in my experience. I don't really even like selling them. To be totally honest, in the real world, I would rather deal in $300 to $500 machines, because that's the budget build. And I am at my core, in my heart, I'm a budget build guy. Okay, but I keep getting these deals. I'll probably keep the monitor. I don't even know where I'm going to put it. I do not have space for a 49-inch monitor. So I don't even know what I'm going to bloody do with the thing. I may have to sell it. I may try to trade it for something else. I may try to keep it. It's just, I'm going to have to see. I'm going to have to see once I get it home and I get it in place, and just see if I can find space for it. I'm going to have to look close and make sure it's not burned in too, but who knows? Maybe the guy's been running, it's ultra wide, so maybe the guy's been running a set of Corsa or something with the speedometer in the corner. It's burned into hell. I'll have to check on that. So anyway, and then the other thing with that is that I don't sell what other flippers sell. Okay, I don't flip PCs. I mean, I do, but my product is not just a flipped PC. Okay, my product is a full buying experience delivered to people all over my state. Like I deliver and set up machines literally all over my state. So what I'm really selling is a computer at normal going, say, Seattle market rates, plus the convenience, the testing, the YouTube videos, all of that kind of stuff that makes buyers just generally more comfortable with a build. They can literally watch me. I've probably done enough of these at this point. You know, I'm building every machine on video. So you can literally watch me build your machine on video. Okay? Nobody else in my local market is doing that. No one is doing that. Now, I get that doesn't make the hardware worth more money, but it does make it easier to sell, and it does justify my prices far more than somebody that just wants to meet you in a parking lot. So anyway, we'll see what we end up with. I probably won't be able to do the in-car portion of this like I've done in the past, because the stuff is too big. So we're gonna have to wait till I get home. I'm just gonna do a basic test on it. Okay, it's $900. That's a lot of money, like I said to most people, but to me, it's I've got plenty of money. I've got $900. I'm just gonna make sure it turns on. That's all I care. Beyond that, whatever. If he's willing to show me a run of 3D Mark or whatever, something like that, great. If not, great. We'll deal with it either way. So I'll do that. I'll make sure it powers on. I'll make sure that the monitor isn't burned into bloody hell, and then go from there. Anyway, stay tuned. Okay, guys, so this is one of those situations where I got to talking with the seller, and one thing led to another, and I ended up buying other stuff. So, let's take a look. So, this was the original. Here, let's actually, I don't know how well you can see that. Of course my light's gone the moment, oh, there it is. Okay, so that was kind of the big, this is the moneymaker item, basically. So I don't know exactly, I don't know how big the SSD in it is, which, it does have an SSD in it. I'm just assuming it's got an Aorus thing on it, so I'm going to assume it's a high-end 1 terabyte. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be a 2, but normally if it's higher end, I assume it's going to be a 1, because you don't usually get both high-end and large capacity, so because it is a pre-built. And then it's got the RTX 3080 FTW3, which I actually already have one of. And then it's just your standard high-end build from a couple years ago. 5800X, 32 gigs, liquid cooler, 3080. I haven't opened the power supply yet, but I'm looking at it. I'm sure it's probably somewhere between a 750 and a 900. So, you know, I typically am able to sell comparable systems for around $1,000, give or take, sometimes a little bit more. Then the next item is this. So, 49-inch Samsung 5K 2K OLED. This I'm keeping. I'm pretty sure it's going to be my new main gaming monitor. I was using the LG convertible 4K 480 1080 / 244K. There are some things I like that better for than ultra wide, but I've never actually had a true ultra wide. I've only had the 38 ultra wides, which are a little bit less ultra wide. So I'm going to try this for a little while. I'll come up with another use for the LG. I may not even use it right now. Actually, I may just put the LG in a case. I'm looking at ordering just a protective case for it. I may just put it in a protective case and store it for a couple of months until I figure out what I'm going to do. I'm a little tight on LCD space here, as you can see. And then lastly, let's turn the light on again. We got this, which I'm not entirely positive what the specs are on it. It's got a 1070 in it. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. Processor is unknown. Me and the seller are guessing it's a 3600X. Maybe I'll get lucky though. Maybe it'll be a 2700X or a 3700X, because he said he thought it was a Ryzen 5, but he also thought that the video card was a 1060, and I saw it and I was like, nah, I think that's a 1070, and I was right, it was a 1070. So sometimes you get lucky. What do we got here? Power supply looks like maybe a Thermaltake 700, something like that. Doesn't look like it has a lot of cables with it, but on the bright side, I do have some spare Thermaltake cables. So there's that. I think he said it had a, I think he said he thought it had an SSD in it. Yeah, it looks like it's got he thought it had a 256 gig M.2. So the pricing on the deal, this I gave him, I believe, $180 for. He wanted a little bit more. I wanted a little bit less. In the real world, builds like this are only worth what I make them worth with what I do. So I like to pick these kind of builds up for 100 or less, but it's fine. I was a little more liberal because he gave me such a good deal on some of the other stuff. This, the 3080 build, was $500. And then the 57-inch was the 57-inch was $400, which I look at it as, here, let me put this back on me. So I look at it, and sorry for how dark it is. This is just one of those. This is not. Oops, dang it. This is not a. This is not one of my normal build videos or something like that where I get all the lights and stuff out. This is a kind of a seat of the pants type video, which I think some of you like, some of you don't. But I'm going to do some of these every now and then because I think there's a certain demographic that likes to watch these raw videos. So, what was I even talking about? I don't remember. In any case, yeah, got some cool stuff. Got some buildable stuff. Probably none of it will be sold as it sits. I'm still debating whether or not to keep the 3080 with either the 5800X. I'm leaning towards doing a build with the 5800X using one of my on-hand 2080 Ti's. I think that might be a better value proposition and profit proposition, but I don't know yet. I'm going to have to do research, see what people are buying, see what's actually selling, and go from there. But again, I hope you guys found this an interesting look at my buying habits. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think anyone believes me when I tell them how many systems I build and how much of the stuff I buy. So I think after a year of doing these type videos, because I resisted doing these kind of videos in the past, but I think after a year of these kind of videos, I think you guys are going to be kind of surprised. But anyway, thanks for watching.